Today, we discuss a new XRP partnership that I am so excited about. We're talking about legacy players JP Morgan and MasterCard partnering up with Ondo and Ripple to settle US Treasuries cross border instantaneously on the XRP ledger. And we're going to show you the transaction on the XRP ledger, verify this for ourselves, and then we're going to tie this back into why this is such a massive opportunity. We've been watching the bond market blowing up. We need more demand for US Treasuries. The bond market and that yield's been rising. We got a big problem here. And we've been talking about how stable coins are the solution. Well, we just opened it up with a landmark pilot test transaction that I think shows us where this is all heading, moving on the XRP ledger. Can you say all the money? Well, let's just get started with some US Treasuries moving cross-border. We're going to break it down in today's update. As always, if you're new here, make sure you guys have subscribed and hit that notification bell. And all of our community resources are available at zachrector.com. But for the new folks here, we cover current events, financial markets, and the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. Let's rock and roll. Bitcoin catches a bid along with the rest of the crypto market, finally getting some green candles coming in here on the 1 hour chart so we can see what action we got today, which was a move up to about 82,800 for Bitcoin before pulling back below about 81.1. And as I record this update here at about 1:30 on the West Coast, 4:30 p.m. Eastern, the stock market has closed down, and it closed down with the stock market S&P 500 hitting a new all-time high, Bitcoin catching a nice bid, the Russell 2000 went up to a new all-time high, and XRP thought about trading out of this consolidated wedge here that we've been trading in for the past month and a half or so, with a move up to about $1.46 for XRP before pulling back and being at $1.42 as I record this update. Across the broader crypto market, we saw some green candles start to come in. It was a green day across the board. I still am kind of hesitating to get too excited here, though, because we know there's still a climax of the conflict that's waiting around the corner in the Middle East. I worry about some other issues as well. But with that being said, it looks like the bottom very well could be in, or we're very close to have seen the worst of the bear market, and we're about to start picking this thing back up. And in the meantime, smart money, Joe Blows like me, just continue to stack these positions. Guys, we're going to get to this XRP partnership. Before we do, not only is it the Wall Street players that are working on new pilots, cross-border transactions, and the new rails, but they're also just picking up positions, and that's what we're going to break down right here. CoinGate reporting, Wall Street giant UBS Group discloses XRP holdings ahead of crypto trading launch. This is the $7 trillion asset manager UBS Group, and they've invested in the Grayscale XRP ETF along with the Volatility Shares XRP ETF. They only threw, this is kind of small, but I just want to show you guys so we're not misreporting this. It's only about $8,000 that they threw at the Grayscale XRP ETF, but they did throw $1.5 million at the Volatility Shares XRP ETF. And they note here, Goldman Sachs, they were the largest move that we reported on last month. Goldman Sachs reported over about $150 million worth of exposure to the XRP ETFs. They had exposure to a few different ETFs, but that was the biggest position that we'd seen from any of the Wall Street players that had reported so far. But we're starting to get a lot of reports in. I'm excited. We're going to be doing our private credit update as well, too, as a lot of the private funds are reporting on how things went in Q1 and how things went in 2025. But we're also seeing the holdings of these Wall Street players are being revealed. Goldman Sachs, $7 trillion asset manager, UBS. It starts with a little $8,000 position in the Bitwise XRP ETF. And then next thing you know, it's $8 billion of inflows. This is actually what JP Morgan predicted would come into the XRP ETFs year one. And so we're kind of in the middle of that right now. This bear market has seen the inflows start to, trickle back in here after bottoming out with a few weeks of outflows. But now the inflows have returned. XRP in the broader crypto market starting to catch a bid. I still have my buy orders to the downside left in case we do get spooked one more time, whether it be aliens, the World War III events, etc. but this is lining up, and this is the type of integrations we want to see happening on the XRP ledger. I'm going to break it down for you guys right now, but we're going to remind everybody that JP Morgan, the story goes, Brad Garlinghouse in 2017 had tweeted out, let me see if I can pull this up right here for you guys, right here. I had to verify my memory. July 12th, 2017, Brad Garlinghouse tweeted out, there were 15 senior executives from JP Morgan and Ripple's office this afternoon. So while we're going to announce and break down this new partnership today, I want to remind everybody, JP Morgan's been really quiet. Jamie Dimon said it's something silly. We have no interest. And then he capitulated and said, okay, if our clients want to trade crap, we'll let them trade crap. Here you go. And so now they're live with it. But now we see that it's more than just selling the crap to their clients. Now they're starting to move U.S. treasuries on chain, and that chain is the XRP ledger. Ondo, Kinesis by JP Morgan, MasterCard, and Ripple successfully completed a landmark pilot transaction connecting the XRP ledger with interbank settlement rails. This milestone marks the first time tokenized U.S. treasuries have settled across borders and banks in near real time outside traditional banking windows. Ondo processed Ripple's OUSG redemption on the XRP ledger. On step 2, MasterCard's multi-token network routed instructions to Kinesis by JP Morgan. And then step 3 was JP Morgan delivered US dollars to Ripple's Singapore bank account. Tokenized assets are no longer separate from the global financial system. For the first time, a public blockchain and global banking infrastructure settled a cross-border transaction of a tokenized fund together in real time. Together, we're laying the groundwork for 24/7 global markets that never close. Now, this is so important because this is happening when our bond market is blowing up. Right? We had this huge sell-off earlier this week. We need more demand. We need more people to use stablecoins. We need more people to hold stablecoins, right? And this is why President Trump at the Bitcoin conference in 2024 said it was going to be stablecoins that were going to be key to US dollar dominance. Obviously not Bitcoin. Obviously, the XRP ledger plays a role because we tokenize the US dollar with RLUSD. We tokenize the treasury with OUSG from Ondo. And we bring that to the XRP ledger, and we bring it to other chains as well, right? Tether, Circle issued on countless chains, and even Ripple issuing RLUSD on Ethereum and the XRP ledger. But this cross-border transaction of settlement of a U.S. Treasury outside of U.S. banking hours, bank to bank, is happening, starting, right? That flow on the XRP ledger. And I just love to see the teamwork here. I love to see the teamwork. Just like Ben Grossman says right here, who's running Ondo. Thrilled to work with the teams at JP Morgan, Ripple, and MasterCard on this. This is how crypto and TradFi rails come together. The first time tokenized T-bills are settled cross-border in banks near real time. Go in real time from tokenized T-bills in bank in country 1 to cash in bank in country 2. And it was all done nearly instantaneously. That's the team effort that we like to see. So JP Morgan, just doing what Wall Street and these big banksters do. They completely distract and say, we're not interested. We got our own little token. We're doing a little deal over here. No interest in the XRP ledger or Ripple or XRP. And then you fast forward from 2017 to 2026, almost 10 years later, and boom, you get a little integration here, moving the U.S. treasuries on the XRP ledger. And I got to give a shout out to Vet. This is what we want to see. This is how we verify it. We should be able to see it. That's the whole point of blockchain, distributed ledger technology being transparent, is when the banks and the institutions come to the XRP ledger, we'll be able to see it for ourselves and confirm it. I can do it. You can do it. We all can do it together. Vet helping us out. I checked Ondo on the XRP ledger, who is a native issuer of U.S. treasuries here. And indeed, I found 2 transactions by Ripple that seemed to redeem OUSG recently as part of the MasterCard and JP Morgan cross-border bank settlement funnel. The transaction settled for fractions of a penny in just a few seconds, as the XRP ledger always does. Now we slide on over here to XRP Scan, and here's the payment from account Ripple 50, and that Ripple 50 wallet has been very active. We've seen a lot of movement over there. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see this right here. Ripple Wallet 50, deliver 0.50 USG. So this was the first test transaction that was sent and delivered. And then we slide on over here, and this was the second transaction where they sent 870 OUSG, and the fee was 0.00015 XRP. Nothing, right? And that was the payment summary right over here, 870 OUSG. Now we slide on over here, and we are looking at the OUSG issuer wallet that Ondo is using to issue these tokens on the XRP ledger. Let's zoom in. OUSG is the issuer. You can see when it was activated on June 9th, 2025. You see how long these things take? Right? You'll get an announcement. Oh, Ondo's tokenizing treasuries on the XRP ledger. We probably got that early in 2025, maybe late 2024, whenever it hit the timeline. But then, you might not get that activity till a little bit later. And obviously, we're still waiting on Clarity Act to pass as well, too, which maybe that's why this took place, payment to Ripple's Singapore bank, because, we can do all of this activity outside of the United States while we wait for clarity and regulations here in the US, which is very unfortunate. But I show you guys this here on XRP Scan just to show you that everybody can verify this for themselves. Here's the wallet. It includes their domain. You're able to put your website domain. You're able to put your X account. There's the wallet right there. You can see it. We slide on down. Here's the issued token. OUSG is the ticker. The issued supply is 2.8 million. This is just getting started. And it can all be verified by you, by me. We can all do it together on the public, open source, and permissionless XRP ledger. It's just beautiful. And guys, this is the real world assets coming to the XRP ledger that we've been talking about. Why are you going to come to the XRP ledger? Because it's one of the best sources of liquidity. It's one of the most efficient and cheapest ledgers to use. This is why you're going to choose that. And Ripple's continued to build all of these institutional partnerships. Remember, Ondo tokenizing US Treasuries is just one issuer that's going to tokenize US Treasuries. You're going to have multiple issuers tokenizing US Treasuries, tokenizing US dollars, multiple currencies, different assets like real estate, private equity, etc. The list goes on and on and on. On the XRP ledger, burning XRP every transaction, locking up XRP for every wallet that you set up to use these tokens on the XRP ledger. You're setting up another wallet, locking up more XRP. And these are little pilot test transactions and only 2.8 million issued tokens by Ondo so far. But reminder, we're going to trillions. So the opportunity is to invest in the neutral bridge currency, right? The neutral asset of the ledger, while the tokenization is at 2.8 million, right? And we look across all of the RWAs on the XRP ledger, I think it's just now surpassed 1 billion. That's on its way to trillions. That's the opportunity. We're at billions tokenized on the XRP ledger. We're going to trillions. And it's not just going to be tokenized on the ledger, it's going to be that flow, right? That flow of liquidity on the XRP ledger as well. And this is what drives value back to XRP in all of these scenarios that seemingly might not involve XRP all that much, right? You're just sending the treasury, you're sending the token, you burn a little bit of XRP, but it's not that much. Well, it doesn't seem like that much at first. But when you get trillions tokenized, when you bring billions of people on chain, and when literally all of the flows move to DLT rails, it doesn't all have to come to the XRP ledger. But as I've always said, if we just get a piece of this pie, we'll be sitting in a very good position. Now, before we sign out, guys, I just want to ask you, if you do appreciate the content, please help us out by liking this video, sharing it out far and wide. If you want to use our community resources that we have linked up down below or at my website, you can also get the XRP family merch. We would greatly appreciate all of your support. And I do want to get in a quick word from our sponsor real quick, I Trust Capital. For those of you guys haven't checked out their platform, I encourage you to do so. US-based customer support and completely free institutional grade custody. They have 3 different products right now: the I Trust Capital IRA for your retirement funds, the premium custody account, which is institutional grade custody, and then the treasury account, which I'm really excited about This is their new one for your LLC, your business, your trust, your nonprofit, or any other entity. You can set up your corporate, digital asset, and precious metal holdings there with iTrust Capital. Use my link down below to get the $100 funding bonus. And with that, we are going to wrap this one up. But guys, this is an XRP partnership and integration I am so excited about. Legitimate issuers bringing real world assets to the XRP ledger and bringing it at a time when we're going through a bond market crisis at the same time. Very interesting. XRP might be here as kind of a lender of last resort in some fashions, but also a hub of liquidity where tokenized treasuries can come in and we can see the demand for those grow as well. So you guys let me know what you think in the comments down below about this partnership and what we're seeing in the markets today. If you guys haven't already, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell on the way out, and we will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for your support. God bless you all. I am your host, Zach Rector. I really appreciate all of the love and support. If you want to support the channel, just remember that you can start by smashing that thumbs up for me, sharing this content far and wide, and everything else is at my website.